Chapter 89. Slide. Hannah. Once we settled in, we were silent until about a half hour after midnight to make sure we weren't going to be seen, but the building was searched for uninvited guests. "Can you all hear me?" I asked quietly at 12:30 in the morning. "Yes," said Dr. Marcassius. "Yes," said George. Sam and I could see through the light of my phone was going to give me a thumbs up. "I need you to talk to you two about the logo I saw on Dr. Jacobs' jacket, along with the guards who were bombarded us at Roosevelt Station," I said quietly. You said they looked the same," said Dr. Marcassius quietly. "I did," I said. George then turned on his phone. "What are you doing, George?" I asked. "Hold on," said George. George, I saw, was playing on his phone for a few minutes, and then I saw him show me something. "Is it this logo you were looking for in all capital letters in return on top of each other stacked inside the circle?" George asked. "Yes," I answered. You can think that on the drawing app," said George quietly. "I will," I said. George then gave me his phone. "Thank you for the drawing app," I said to the phone. We then all laughed quietly as I gave my phone back to George. "So, what is the plan for tomorrow?" I asked Dr. Marcassius. "George, can you look up the time the conservatory opens?" Dr. Marcassius asked. Sure," said George. It took George a minute before he pulled it up. 9, answered George. "At the strike of 9, we're running right out of here to Robbinsog," said Dr. Marcassius. That reminded me of something I should do. I need to make a phone call," I said, getting out my phone. "To who?" George asked out of curiosity. "My parents," I answered. I then called Peter. "Hannah?" Peter asked through the phone. "Hi, Peter." "Hi," said George as he held up the slide. "Shh, this is Hannah's conversation," said Dr. Marcassius. Where are you?" Peter asked through the phone. Somewhere safe?" Somewhere safe?" I answered through the phone. "That's not specific enough," said Peter through the phone. Well, too bad," I said to the phone. "Why is it too bad?" Peter asked. "Because we'll blow a cover and I don't want to do that," I said into the phone. "Why?" Peter asked. "Goodbye, Peter. Tell David I am safer. I am safe," I said into the phone. I then hung up. I then looked down the slide and I saw George had his hood down, and I did not know where. "Why is your hood down?" I asked George. "Because this is a green slide," I answered to George. Oh, sorry, I should have known that," I said. "Did Peter seem like he was doing okay?" Dr. Marcassius asked. "He seemed good, but he seemed like he was doing okay," I answered. That reminded me that I told my dad what we would have been up to earlier today. Did it bother you that I told my parents what we have been up to?" I asked. "No," answered Dr. Marcassius. "May I ask why?" I asked. "Because George is going to tell Mom before he jabs the needle in her tomorrow," answered Dr. Marcassius. "Really?" George asked. "Yes, really," answered Dr. Marcassius. "Why?" George asked. "Because we need to tell her that we know exactly what has been going on for the past 6.5 years, and that this is where it ends. You know what I'm saying?" Dr. Marcassius asked. "I do," said George. Just then Dr. Marcassius realized something. "Sam, how much do we have left?" Dr. Marcassius asked. Sam then took his weapons out of his bag and placed them between Dr. Marcassius and himself. "3 tear gas bombs in the bullet?" asked Dr. Marcassius with concern. Sam then banged his cane on the ceiling of the slide and then brought it back down. "True, we have that too," said Dr. Marcassius. George was then out on his phone, and again as Sam was putting his weapons away. "What are you looking into?" I asked. We're running right down Lake Street, and we're going to make a right on straight to head south down into Robbins," answered George. Were you looking up the route? Dr. Cassius asked. Yes, answered George. We're going to fly tomorrow because we know we have to be better at the day than at night, said Dr. Cassius. All four of us then tapped our canes in the air. I feel very tired, so I need to sleep. Are you three going to be up longer? I asked. Probably, but not a super long time, said Dr. Cassius. I'm probably going to try and get some sleep now, I said to the other three. Good night, said Dr. Cassius. Good night, said George. said Sam. I probably am going to be awake as long as you two are just resting. I'll just be resting my eyes. Okay, well, we will talk quietly, said Dr. Cassius. I ventured my eyes. I love Hannah, said George. I know you do, said Dr. Cassius. That made me smile. When are you going to marry her? George asked. I'm not ready for that yet, said Dr. Cassius, laughing a little bit. That made me laugh a little bit too, but the truth of the matter is that the $1,000,000 question he and I both have, he and I have already had sex, and I am beginning to feel the results of having sex in that hotel room in New York City. Why? George asked. You'll understand when you're older, Dr. Cassius answered. Okay, said George. There was a pause as I think that Dr. Cassius was looking at something that worried him. Are you doing okay, Sam? Dr. Cassius asked. I couldn't tell what Sam was saying because my eyes were shut. Is everyone feeling comfortable? Dr. Cassius asked. Yes, said George. Sam and I then bumped knuckles because we were both giving a thumbs up. Good, said Dr. Cassius. Were you concerned about? George asked. Sam looked like he was uncomfortable, so I just wanted to make sure we're all comfortable, answered Dr. Cassius. Do you feel comfortable? George asked Dr. Cassius. I'm going to need to get used to it, answered Dr. Cassius. Do you feel used to it now? George asked Dr. Cassius. Better now than before, answered Dr. Cassius. Do you feel fine now? George asked. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give myself a 6, answered Dr. Cassius. 8, I said. You feel more comfortable? George asked. I do, I said. Why? George asked. Hormones, I thought. I don't know, I answered. Why don't you know? George asked. I just don't, I answered. George, you should probably leave her alone, said Dr. Cassius. It is okay, I said. You sure? Dr. Cassius asked. My eyes are closed, aren't they? I asked. True, said Dr. Cassius. But I do want to ask George, when are you going to get out of bed? I asked. One, answered George. When are you going to bed? I asked. 1, answered George. That's in 10 minutes, Dr. Cassius. Okay, I said. I promise you will be unconscious soon, said George. I know, I said. Just then, my phone went off. It is David, I said. I then picked up my phone.